Hi, everyone, and welcome back to LTC Heroes Live by Experience Care. Today, I am very excited. I am joined by Tracy Lichti, the president and CEO of New Cassel Retirement Center. Welcome, Tracy.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
We're so excited to have you. I was actually, to prepare for this interview, I was looking at our conversation we had a couple weeks ago where we met, and I was so excited because we have so many good tips and examples on how, keeping your staff motivated and improving the operations at your facility overall. So I'm really, really excited. Let's start by kind of introducing yourself with an LTC initiation story. So how did you start working in long-term care? And what is it about long-term care that makes you want to, get out of bed every morning?
That's a great question. So, Victoria, I started in long-term care a long time ago. I feel like a long time ago. Straight out of college, I had my degree in food service management, and I was a food service director in a long-term care facility. And the first building I worked at, I took it upon myself to just learn so much about the residents and managed to learn like everything they like to eat, everything they like to drink, everyone's favorites, everything they didn't like, and just really fell in love with taking care of them and helping other people. And during my journey there, I worked there about 8 years as a dining director. I then took steps forward to be a long-term care administrator, took the courses, took the testing for our license to be an administrator, and I transitioned to being a long-term care administrator in assisted living. So a little bit different, didn't stay in that long-term care focus, but transitioned to assisted living. And I worked at a very unique building that was converted from a dormitory from being for nursing students to live in to to an assisted living facility that was 15 stories tall, completely unique for our city here of Omaha, Nebraska, and got to serve a very highly Medicaid or low-income need resident in that facility. And I was able to work there for about 9 years, almost 10. And what I loved about that is I felt like we were providing care for someone who might not have someone else to take care of them. Again, I was very hooked in taking care of that resident, even to sometimes my words would be that we saved them. Like we saved them from maybe not having somewhere to live. And so it even pulled me further into my desire and love to take care of people. I then had an opportunity, which is super exciting, to open a brand new building. So I went into a building before it even was finished. Like it didn't have carpet on the floor. The walls weren't finished when I started working there, and had the opportunity to see it finished, move in every resident that lived there from the beginning, hire every employee. I always joke that challenge showed me everything I was really good at.
Yeah.
And everything that I was really bad at because it was a building that had around 110 apartments between independent living, assisted living, and memory support. And we were able to fill that building in about 8 months. And so it was very active, super fast paced, an amazing challenge that I loved. And so typically when I make a position change, I'm always looking, I've had very few, first of all, very few. And if I make a move, it is so that I can take on a new challenge. I love challenges. So I now have been at New Cassel Retirement. I had the opportunity about 4 years ago to take a leap of faith and become the leader of this facility in the role of president and CEO, which brought in many new challenges for me. In the component that it's the first nonprofit that I had worked at. It's faith-based, which is just kind of ran differently. And we'll talk about that, I think, later. And also we have a foundation side where I oversee the foundation or the fundraising efforts along with our foundation president. And that was completely different. So all those are new challenges for me. And one of the reasons I chose to make a change from my past work. But then COVID happened, and I will tell you that's been my number one challenge. And I know if I'm not alone in that seat for many of my peers in this role, but I always joke, I'm a girl who loves a challenge. That challenge I could have
Oh,
like lived without.
yeah, I bet.
So,
For
yeah. So
sure.
all in all, I've worked in long-term care since I got out of college. Like I've never
Wow.
really worked in any other industry. During college, I had many other experiences, but I always joke I worked at a cookbook factory, which was awesome. But with my background in food service, I think that in hospitality, it it just lends itself very nicely into all these other
Yeah.
roles, whether it is being the administrator, whether it is leading this facility here as the president and CEO. Actually, one of our core values here at Newcastle is hospitality. And so it just fits into my niche of how I take care of people.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that background story. I love that. I had no idea it was you started right away working in long-term care. That's
Yeah.
so interesting. So I'm curious, what's your favorite memory in long-term care? Like maybe a day that or something that shaped you into the person or leader that you are today.
Hmm. I don't, I will tell you the lady that, so I've had some amazing mentors along my journey. I think many people in my role have had those people that mattered to them and made a difference. And I will tell you, I had the pleasure, the honor. I don't even know what the right word is to explain this mentor that I had, who took a chance and hired me in my first role as an administrator. In our state of Nebraska, she was the pioneer of assisted living. And I will tell you, she was a dietitian by trade, but then she took care of all these assisted living. She managed over them. And her words to me is, we dietary people have to stick together. And, for someone to give a chance to be an administrator with a food service degree, I think it took her. It took her that she understood what that all meant. It wasn't just preparing someone a meal and making sure they were well nourished. Like it means a lot to have that component behind you. And so I will tell you, she shaped so many things for me and gave me that chance to do what I do. So, yeah.
Wow. Awesome. So, Tracy, let's go into Newcastle Retirement. So, you told us you've been in this organization for 4 years now, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, tell us, what is it about this organization that was so special? You also told us that you wouldn't change for just changing. It has to be a challenge.
Right.
It has to be something meaningful. So, what is it
Yeah.
about Newcastle that is so unique?
Well, I will tell you, first of all, that one of the number one reasons I was drawn to come here again was the nonprofit component. Newcastle's been open almost 50 years, and it never in 50 years have they asked someone to move because they couldn't afford to stay. So in my whole core roots, it's to serve people, to serve those that are in need. That's our mission, serve those that are in need. And that mission really pulled me back into this like component of nonprofit and making sure that even those residents who may not be able to afford, well, even honestly, bare necessities, they can be here with us. And I'm just so proud to be able to work here and make sure we're taking care of the seniors. Our price point is super affordable. So even if I can pay, I'm not using all of my resources to be here. And it's just different because I will speak of the foundation a bit here too, but like we raise dollars to fix our building instead of having residents have to pay for us to fix our building. So we can keep things so affordable. And that matters to me, like that we can care for seniors and be respectful and be good stewards of their resources.
Of course. What types of care services do you guys provide?
It's a great question. We are, first of all, we are huge. Just joke, we're big. We have 179 apartments here that are all licensed assisted living, but residents do choose to move in when they're still independent. So that's why we call it a retirement community. They can come in and live independent here without services besides housekeeping and meals. And then they can transition in place right in that same apartment because it's actually licensed assisted living. They can stay there if they need that higher level of care. So we have independent living residents here with us, assisted living care residents that are here. And we have about a mix of 40% independent, 60 on services for assisted living. And then we also, in our property, we manage an adult day center, a very robust day center, actually. And it can serve up to 80 participants in any given day. So we are a resource for that in our community as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Mm-hmm. So in terms of being a nonprofit and also a faith-based organization, how does that affect the operations and the managing of an organization like that? What are the things that are different?
So first of all, faith-based, we were built 50 years ago by the School Sisters of St. Francis. So we are Catholic-based. You do not have to be Catholic to live here, nor do you have to be Catholic to work here, live here, any of that. It's just what it is. But the mission was established to under the St. Francis's values, which he cared for those that were sick. He cared for those that were poor. And so that's been the core of what Newcastle has been for 49, almost 50 years. And so how do we manage that? Well, we have to remember that when we make decisions, that we are here to serve those in need. And we are nonprofits. So we are here to, whatever we make monies doing care services and such, we're going to put that back in our building. Or if we need to do something big, structural, like we just got a new roof, for example, we're going to fundraise for it first, so that if we can and apply for grants and any other thing that we can do to pay for that big project first, before we use money out of operations, so that our residents don't see that on their bill. Like, we all manage the financial side of things as if we're at this level of management, and you have to look at what do you have for building expenses and how can we pay for that. And if we weren't able to fundraise and we weren't able to apply for grants and such, we would still have to replace our roof. But that cost of that would then have to go into the rental cost for our residents to be here. So that makes it so different here, that we have an amazing foundation that balances things out. The other thing that I love, like I'll talk about this weekend, we have 2 big outings for our residents for Christmas. One is going to this Christmas event that they get to view all these nativity sets. And then they're also going to our playhouse to the Christmas Carol musical. And because we're nonprofit, we have such a strong donor base that all residents are treated equal in those outings. And this is one of my favorite things, because it doesn't matter if you can pay to go on that outing or not. You don't have to pay, because the foundation here has already raised dollars that it's equal across the board. Nobody pays. The foundation supports those events.
That's awesome.
And so it doesn't matter if I'm living here under Medicaid, where I have no spendable money, so I can't choose to go to that event, or I have the resources. It doesn't matter. That makes it different here too, in that nonprofit side, that we just keep it. I don't even know how to explain it. It just keeps it equal. Nobody needs to know.
No, it comes across, very equally. That's really inspiring. How do you go about funding these things? Like, how do you go about raising the money?
Perfect question. Cindy is our foundation president. I will speak so highly of her. I call her a bulldog simply because she has no fear in asking people for money. And she has a purpose behind it. Like, we're typically not asking money for just no reason. Like, she has donors that she will go to and say, we want to do these things in life enrichment over the next 6 months. Are you willing to support those? And then they'll give if they know where their dollars are going. that how they're going to increase someone's quality of life. And I don't know if any time she's been told no on something like that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to tell the story. Like how will it matter? How will it change someone's life, and tell the story.
For sure. And I remember you told me you guys are very connected to your community, right?
We are. We're super connected with our community, whether it is through other parishes, because we are Catholic based, that they highly support us. Like one of the things we just did through the month of October was do a canned food drive for homeless veterans in our area. And so we as a facility collected canned goods, but then the parishes that we are very connected with, they also collected canned goods. And we all then made this an amazing contribution, because our goal was to have 500 items. If we had 500 items, we had a donor that was willing to give us $500 to go get more food to be able to donate.
Wow.
So we busted through that with all of our support from our community, and we had well over 1,300 items that we were able to collect. And so we got to use their monies, their $500 more, and buy, they filled the entire back of the van for this organization to take those food things. So remember to reaching out for them for other purposes too. Like ask your community support for all kinds of different connections, not just once a year or only when you're raising money. Like how else can you work together to support each other? One of our parishes also does toiletry drives for us. One of the requirements as a facility that accepts Medicaid is you provide the personal toiletries for those that are on Medicaid services. Well, this parish, they collect so many for us and bring them here. And then residents can have choice of brand name items from those donations, instead of Newcastle using our revenue to buy those items to have them here. So then in turn, my favorite thing to do, one of my favorites, is then during Catholic Schools Week, I buy the whole school donuts and we take them to the school, and they because they're the ones who've collected all those goods, and they think we're the greatest thing because we brought them donuts on Friday during Catholic Schools Week. So, the last time we were there, the principal's like, they're here with the donuts from Newcastle. And the whole school, you could hear them on the intercom, like cheering that they were so happy we were bringing donuts. But it's that whole back and forth. You can't just ask them to give and you not to support them in another way as well. So
that makes a lot of sense. And I can already think about the audience looking here today. They're going to be thinking, how can I start? Where do you start connecting with your community? Who do you reach out to? What are the first activities you plan? Like how to start?
Okay. How do we start? I will say that where we are today obviously is not where we started when Cindy joined our team 9 years ago. And so to your question, where do you start? To be honest, you pick somewhere you have a really good personal relationship with. We started with that one Catholic school that actually Cindy took her children to. They had that personal connection. And she's actually goes to church at that parish. So we started there. And then it was able to grow. And then we took on the next closest parish to us. And they do a fundraiser where they sell gift cards to raise dollars. And so we always buy those gift cards to give to our staff. Like we work together. We support them. Yeah. They always support
partnerships.
Us. Yep, exactly. And so we already buy gift cards to give our staff for their birthday gift or a holiday gift, whatever it might be. Why not get them there? Because then they raise money on their fundraising side. And then they're one of the folks that gave lots of canned goods to our food can drive. So you have to start with where you have at least a connection, and whether it's personal, it could be very personal. For us, it was.
And something easy too. Maybe people are going to think, oh, this is going to take so much planning and everything, but it's something that you would already be doing for your staff or that you can create that partnership with. So that's really interesting.
Yeah. So both ways. The first connection we had with the St. Gerald's Parish, it's called, the kids used to come pre-COVID and do programs for us and Stations of the Cross at Easter. And just, you got to find those little nooks and crannies that make that relationship foster. And then it will grow. It will grow, but you have to keep forward with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I like to move into this next topic, and I want to ask you, if we were here having a conversation with your team, if we were to ask them, how's Tracy as a leader? How could you describe her? What do you think they would say?
Well, I don't know if any of you have done the Clifton Strength Finders. I do fall into mine pretty heavily. My number one is strategic. And I think my team would tell you, like, she is absolutely always thinking, where are we going next? Like, where are we moving? What are we doing? And I hope that they would say that I seek to understand. I ask tons of questions so I understand. I try to be a coach more than a boss. Like, I try to help you, challenge you with questions, challenge you with what would be the next steps, but keep you moving forward. And on that side, this isn't a leadership. This is my daughter, who's 17, who has nicknamed me the pusher. And I joke about that, but she goes, "You push me to do more, Mom. You push me to do better." And so I think my team would, well, she has two terms for me. One, I'm a pusher. And number two, I'm a fun sponge when she's a teenager. Like, I take all the fun out of it. But my family team here, though, would tell you that I do try to remember to have fun each day. I joke that it's not always like fun, but like, let's find moments of joy. Like, let's make sure that we have a super hard job. We're taking care of people. We're probably going to make a mistake from time to time because it's people taking care of people. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to be upset with you because you did your best. As a leader, I hope you would say, I'm understanding, and that I hope you find moments of joy to be here. So,
yeah, for sure. That's awesome. And so that actually is a great transition into my next topic, which is how to keep your staff motivated and happy. Yeah. So I know you have so many great examples for this. Yeah. And I've never heard, when we had this conversation, I have to tell you, I was impressed because I've never heard anything like that from anywhere. So awesome. I'm so excited. Yeah. If you can tell our audience here today, how do you keep your staff motivated?
I would love to. So it's definitely something that I love to do. Like, I as a leader, I've actually been told by others that I care more about the people who work for me than the people who live in my buildings. And at first I was offended by that, but then I've decided, as I've worked in the field longer, is like, it doesn't matter, because the truth is I have to take care of the people who work for me, because then they're going to take great care of the people who live with me in my building. So this has evolved. It doesn't happen overnight as well. Like, at first I was like, oh, we have to do all these things. We have to do everything. We have to take care of everybody. But then I've learned, as I've worked, like, you can do some great core things that are different than anywhere else they work, and they love it. So there are some simple things, and I've stole some of these ideas actually as different places or different people tell me things, but a few of my things that are my favorite, of course, we do all the basic things, like you get the card when you have your anniversary here. You get recognition in our monthly meeting when you've worked here so many years. You get a birthday card from us with those gift cards that we buy from that parish that supports us. We do that, all of that. But some of the other, like, unique things I would say we would do is we've initiated a fun squad, first of all, which many buildings have those. And we made a very purposeful effort to make sure the fun squad has members on it from all departments and all shifts, so we don't miss anybody. And they plan their own things. They have a budget and they can do whatever they want with it. And they plan internal things for the team. Then some of the other things that we have evolved are my two of my really favorites. One is the Awesome Box. One is it is instant gratification. You do something awesome during your workday, your manager, your leader of the day, whatever the situation is, that you can go to the Awesome Box. They said you did awesome, go to the Awesome Box, and it is actually in our COO's office. And the reason for it is because then your manager told you to go. We get to celebrate you when you come get it. And it is, it's just an awesome thing. And I fill it full. I get things all the time, fill it as full as we can. I will tell you, I found that some of their favorite things are things they can pick out and take home to their children, whether it's games or whether it's blankets or whether it's just something they can do together. Like now get gingerbread kits and put that gingerbread house kits and put those in there, and they'll take them home and have an opportunity to do that with their loved ones. So I do a mixture of things for things that you could just take home for yourself, or I can take that home for my child so that they have something special today.
That's beautiful.
One of my absolute favorite things to do, and we probably do this about 9-10 times a year, is everybody who works here, their name goes in the hat. And we draw 20 names out of that hat. And if you get picked, you are invited to come on the energy bus.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Yeah, the energy bus is just what it sounds like. Honestly, it is our bus. I drive it. And they're always nervous. Tracy, you're driving us? I'm like, yes, I know how to drive the bus. I'm driving you. And when you come to the energy bus trip, you don't know where you're going. There's very few rules, but you don't know where you're going yet. And when you get on, you have to put on a silly hat. I have this big bucket of crazy hats, hamburger hats, hot dog hats, clowns. You got it. It's all in there. This big, humongous cowboy hat. It's all in there. So you have to wear a hat the whole time. I ask that you sit with someone on the bus that you don't work with every day. So, don't sit with a dietary person or nursing and nursing, like mix it up. Sit with someone you don't know. And then we play loud music. And the other rule is if you know the song, you're required to sing it. So we play all those songs that you might hear when you go to a football game or a basketball game, like the songs that everyone knows, right? Mm-hmm. On the bus. And then typically we are gone about 1 hour. And we go to places such as a coffee house or an ice cream shop, or we've gone to like Culver's where they can get ice cream or a hamburger. And when they get there, I tell them they can get whatever they want. I don't care. And sometimes they just get a little treat. Sometimes they get a whole meal because they might be hungry. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter.
That's so beautiful. That's so awesome. Really, the question when I asked you, what kind of leader are you? I feel like this answers it perfectly, because who would have thought, the CEO president of this organization driving a bus for everybody. It's just, it's so much
with my
fun.
captain hat on. I have to wear my captain hat.
It's so much fun. I love that. And sometimes it's something, as easy as like the box that you'd mentioned, right? Like it's not something that takes a lot of effort, but for them, it means so much and it makes such a difference. Yeah. So I love that. I love all those ideas. They're so amazing. And I've never heard anything like that before. I was super shocked.
Yes, I have fun pictures. And you should see the people when you go in the restaurant or you go in the coffee shop, they're like, where are you all from? And you're like, we're from work. We're at work right now. So
that's awesome. So to close our interview today, I'd like to do a couple rapid fire questions with you.
Of course.
And the idea is for you, of course, to answer them as fast as you can. So The first one, what is a favorite failure of yours?
So I thought of my favorite failure is when I was moving all those people in to the building I opened. When someone came to the front door and said they were moving in today and their apartment wasn't even clean. Like, we weren't ready. Like,
okay, I have to
You're
stop.
welcome. Let's go get some coffee. Yeah. I'm like, let's go get some coffee. Stat on the backside, everyone cleaned that apartment. And so, but I learned from that, Victoria, that I had to get more organized. Like I had to make a sheet. Like I moved forward where like on my chart, like every apartment that was being moved in, every Monday we met and made all the keys, checked all those rooms. Like you just learn from it. But I was like, you're moving in today? Great. Let's go have some coffee first. So anyway.
That's awesome. That's brilliant. I love it. Next one. What advice would you give to a smart, driven college student about to enter the real world?
That's a great question. I have one of those. I have a son that's just entering the world.
This is perfect.
Yes. And so I'm going to just say, you got to keep it simple. You don't have, how should I say this? Like, you don't have to own the world right when you finish college. Find that job that speaks to your insides, like what fulfills you, and work so hard, and great things will happen. Great things will happen.
Awesome. Last one. And this one's fun. If you could have a gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say and why?
It's kind of heartfelt. My heart is telling me that we cannot forget these seniors. Like we have to make sure in this world of fast pace that we don't leave them out. So my billboard would say, like, who will care? Like, who will care for them? We have to remember them. Yeah.
That's like, beautiful.
That's why I work here, honestly. Yeah.
No, and we're all going to get to that place and that age where we're going to want people to take care of us. So it's not just about like we see it as far, but it's, it's coming for all of us. So
yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Tracy, for joining us today. This was so much fun.
Yes.
And thank you. And I hope to see you again soon.
Absolutely. I would love it.
Thank